disrespectful to the people of this city, who in fact honor the work of the NYPD. Can't tell you how extraordinary the outpouring of feeling that I've experienced from New Yorkers of every kind, who feel very personally the loss of those two officers and feel what their families are going through. So at a time when I think the people of the city felt tremendous respect for the NYPD, some individual officers showed disrespect to the families and to the people of this city.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. Before I get to that, and by the way, coming up next, we will be joined exclusively by the president of the NYC PBA, Pat Lynch. Will be here to react to what the mayor just said and more. I just want to report breaking news. The former governor of Virginia, Bob McDonnell, has been sentenced to 2 years in prison. The feds wanted 12 or so, or at least 10. The judge earlier today reduced the sentencing guidelines with a 6.5 maximum. And based on that, he gave him 2 years in prison. All right, John Boehner sworn in as Speaker of the House. There were over 24 Republicans that voted against him, but it didn't rain on his parade. At least it didn't look that way. And about a half hour ago or so, he was sworn in again as the Speaker of the House, the 114th Congress of the United States. Okay, so last night, I go to bed late, and I hear it come over in the 11 o'clock news that 2 New York City police officers had been shot in the Bronx in New York City. And I said, oh, no, here we go again. And it turned out that, thank God, the 2 officers in question are in stable condition. Looks like they're going to make it. One was shot in the arm and the chest. One was shot in the stomach and the leg. But they're not life-threatening wounds apparently. And they were shot not execution style randomly, but they were shot as they were going after 2 suspects in a robbery. 3 men have been arrested today, including the shooter, they believe. So they have the perpetrators in custody. Now, at first glance, you say, all right, at least it wasn't someone sneaking up on the cops in cold blood and trying to kill them. But has a climate been created where police officers are now more in danger than ever because of the mayor of New York City and others? Because the mayor of New York City saying what he said yesterday, instead of saying, I'm sorry, let us start anew. I'm sorry for standing there when the Eric Garner grand jury verdict came down, standing there and saying that this police force has been racist for decades, which is what he said in different words. And I'm sorry for saying that I'm afraid that my police force might harm my son. So instead of saying I'm sorry, he makes it worse. He criticizes the police officers who turned their backs on the Jumbotron outside of the funeral homes for the 2 respective funerals for the 2 officers who were assassinated. Isn't that their expression of free speech? Isn't that their right? It's an insult to the family. It's an insult to New Yorkers. No, you're an insult to the family. You're an insult to New Yorkers. This guy is out of control. Because at his core, he's a Marxist. He's a Marxist. He supported the Sandinistas in Nicaragua. He got married in Cuba to show support for Castro. I'm not making this up. Read. It's all, you can find it anywhere. And not to mention his little name change either. So when you, in my view, don't have affection for police, it's very hard to mask. And it becomes impossible to improve relations. And that's what we're seeing in New York City, specifically. Don't get me started on Holder and Obama. Now, Obama. I want you to listen to Josh Earnest talking about the Keystone Pipeline and what Obama would do with a bill that passes in the House and Senate on Keystone. Watch.
And the fact is, this piece of legislation is not altogether different than legislation that was introduced in the last Congress. And you'll recall that we put out a statement of administration position indicating that the president would have vetoed had that bill passed the previous Congress. And I can confirm for you that if this bill passes this Congress, the president wouldn't sign it either.
Yeah, because that's who he is. That's who he is. So let the veto pen get ready. You know how he said he's got a pen? He's got one for executive orders. No word yet whether or not he'll use the same pen for the slew of vetoes that are in his future, or if he'll have the executive order pen and the veto pen. Who knows? Time will tell. Pat Lynch next. Exclusive. Don't miss it.